Breaking news, and the chief correspondent is back. Must be big. What have you got?
Yes, Chelsea are getting close to signing a centre-back this month and also a midfielder or attacker if the right opportunity materialises. Now, Levi Colwill's recovery from that ACL injury is going very well, and the England centre-back remains a central part of Chelsea's long-term plans. But at the same time, Chelsea are cautiously optimistic that they'll be able to sign a new centre-back who's their preferred target this month, and talks have stepped up. One of their priority targets at centre-back is the Rennes 20-year-old defender Jeremy Jacquet, one of their main targets. Now, on the question of a new midfielder or attacker, I'm being told that Chelsea are working to see whether a summer 2026 target can be signed this month. And this is really significant because Chelsea have left a Champions League A slot free in their squad, so they can add another player to the squad this month. So Chelsea getting close to signing a centre-back. They're also in the market for a midfielder and or attacker. And there was everyone thinking that Chelsea were going to have a quiet window.
Arsenal fans possibly as a centre-back option. And we've got a little part here, which is basically who needs what or who needs who. Because Andy's picked out 3 players that he feels should go to certain clubs. Let's start with Danilo Duki from Union Berlin, who you think would be a good fit for Newcastle.
Yeah, and he's been of interest to Villa and Leeds already. Dutch centre-back who's been really good for them in recent years. Tall, dominating, decent on the ball, gets his share of goals from set pieces as well because of his size. He feels like someone who's low cost, only 6 months left on his contract. They're in a comfortable position in the Bundesliga, so I think they would be open to making something from him as well. And he's at the age where he wants to make a big move.
Could he be a starter when everyone's fit for them? If they've got Botman, if they've got Chow, if they've got Dan Burn, if all of their centre-backs are fit?
That's a question, because Fabian Schär is not long-term for them, even when he comes back. You know, he's into his 30s now, and it's great that he signed to stay at the club this summer. But at some point, they're going to have to move on from him and Burn. We don't know if we can completely rely on Sven Botman at the moment, because he's had quite a lot of injuries since he's been there. And I think that's what's allowed Malik Thiaw to become such an important part of the team already. And that's why it's such a brilliant move, because at Milan he had his good bits, he had his less good bits. But now he's arrived at somewhere where he feels important. But they definitely need cover. Probably 2 centre-backs, I think, if you're looking beyond the summer.
A lot of teams want this guy, well, Mark Gay. The question is whether it's in January, whether it's in the summer. Where do you think he should go?
City have to go all the way for him this month, for me. Now, obviously, if you're Mark Gay, you're probably more sensible waiting until the summer, having your pick from really anywhere you want. City have got to make themselves irresistible. And I think when you look at where they are, you look at the fact that Ruben Dias remains a formidable central defender, but has had his fitness and form problems over the last little while. John Stones, we never know if we're getting real John Stones back. Get someone to build your defence around. And he's the guy.
Yeah. Will he go January or in the summer?
Summer, definitely. Again, Oliver Glasner didn't want to sell him in the summer, wanted him for this year. I don't see him relinquishing his captain for the next 6 months. He's a true professional, Mark Gahey. I think what's interesting, though, it's been, 2 weeks since the January window's open. He's been open and had opportunities to discuss a contract with clubs outside of England. Well, we haven't heard of anything moving on that front. Now, that surprises me, or certainly tells me that perhaps his future is in this country, which leads you to Manchester City, leads you to Liverpool.
Well don't Liverpool need him just as badly as Manchester City?
Matt, Liverpool needed him in the summer. You know, it's pretty clear. It was obvious, I think, for many they needed him in the summer. Maybe it was obvious a bit too late for Liverpool, hence why they left it so last minute. I have no doubts that will be a regret for Arne Slot and the Liverpool hierarchy that they didn't get that one over the line. He would have made a huge difference to that side. Now Liverpool are going to face competition from Manchester City and Arsenal, who are also showing interest in signing him in the summer. So watch this space. It could be a fire sale. Everybody looking for him.
OK, further up the pitch, Tammy Abraham. Now, we spoke yesterday, potential links that have been reported between Tammy Abraham and Aston Villa. He's currently at Besiktas. Do you think Villa is the place for him to go?
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense, especially since they've lost Enzo Maresca. Now, of course, he's a very, very different type of striker, Tammy Abraham, and he's morphed into a different type of striker over the last couple of years since he's recovered from that major injury at Roma. He had that loan at Milan last season, which on paper doesn't look fantastic, but actually in terms of being what Villa need, a striker that doesn't get picked in the 11 every game and yet can hold the ball up, can work incredibly hard and come off the shoulder as well to score a goal. I think he ticks all the boxes for Villa and exactly what they're looking for at the moment. And having a pretty good season in a not great Besiktas team.
There is space now as well with Donyell Malen on his way officially to Roma. Still to come in the final part of Good Morning Transfers. Is there a fire sale at Wolves? 4 players could be out the door this month. Plus, Andy's got 4 players from Europe, including Marc-Andre Ter Stegen on the move, possibly to the Premier League this month. Suddenly, Andy, plenty of rumours swirling around about Wolves players being approached or having interest in them. What can we read into that? Is this a sign that Wolves have decided, OK, we're preparing now for life in the Championship next
Clear
season?
deck for the Championship. I think that is the obvious conclusion, isn't it? And I think that's fair enough. Look, they have had that little upturn recently. But realistically, if they're going to stay up, they're going to require pretty much Champions League form between now and the end of the season, which is an enormous ask. I think even given that there are teams above them that they can target, it's a lot of ground to make up. So if they want to give Rob Edwards the best possible chance of starting next season well, I think to get everything straight now is not the worst idea in the world, even if it hurts to hear that as a Wolves supporter, I'm sure.
I mean, the thing is there's almost half of the season left. Is that not giving up a little bit too early?
But it's from a business perspective, you've got to look at it and go, hold on a minute, how much of our players going to be worth in the summer when we're likely going to be a Championship side compared to in January, where if teams want these players and want them now, they're always going to pay above the odds in January to get them early and get them mid-season. It's just, for me, it makes business sense to go, look, we've got to build for the Championship. It is so unlikely. I mean, look, I will eat my shoes if Wolves end up surviving. I'll do it right on air here on Sky Sports News.
I don't want to be here when you do that.
No, because it's not going to happen, Matt. Look, it's not going to happen. That's the reality. So the smart way is, look, OK, what players are going to be with us next season? Who's going to be staying with us? Like, for example, João Gomez. He's probably their best player, young player, 24 years old, in the middle of the park. He's being monitored by the likes of Napoli, Atletico Madrid are interested in him. This is a valuable asset of theirs. Is he going to be playing Championship football next season? The answer is no, he shouldn't be playing Championship football because he's much better than that. So how much money can they recoup in January now compared to in the summer when they're relegated? Well, you were speaking earlier, Andy, about clubs outside of England haven't got as much to spend as clubs in England. So if they can maximise it in January, they're going to get more than in the summer.
Right. Marshall Menezes as well. There's some rumours about him. He's close to going, isn't he? And how about Emmanuel Agbadou?
Yeah, Menezes very close to joining Paris FC on loan. Paris FC struggling a little bit in Ligue 1, but they did beat Paris Saint-Germain actually recently in a cup game. But he's had limited playing time just because of the development of Matthias Mane, who's been absolutely superb. He's been a bit of a revelation in such a tough season for Wolves. They only signed him in February for £16 million, so he looks like he's heading out on loan. Emmanuel Agbadou, Besiktas have made a £12 million bid for him. Now, Wolves haven't accepted that yet. Discussions are currently ongoing. Now, he's been away with Ivory Coast at AFCON, hasn't played since mid-December. So that's another player. They're probably looking and going, well, hold on a minute. We could get a decent transfer fee now. It's going to really set us up come the summer because Wolves going to have to attack the transfer market in the summer when they're in the Championship. I say when, I mean that with no disrespect. Yeah. It's just the reality of the situation that Wolves find themselves in. Yeah, and we haven't even mentioned Jørgen Strand Larsen yet. You know, but clearly he's going to be someone who will be targeted too. So if we hear anything definitive about him, we will let you know. He's a real saleable asset, isn't he, for Wolves? Right, we've got 3 more players that Andy has picked out who are playing in Europe at the moment who could end up
in the Premier League. Second part of Who Needs Who is what we're calling it. Right, let's start with the Barcelona keeper, Marc-Andre ter Stegen. Used to be number 1. He's suddenly number 3, isn't he? Could he find his way to the Premier League?